Thanks, man.
Speaking of money, do you know what I just plunked almost 15 grand on?
What?
New HVAC system.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. Really?
Yeah, but that one, the old one was 22 years old, and
Yeah.
I knew it was coming. So like a week before Memorial Day, I got a bunch of bids,
Yeah.
and I ordered from the lowest bidder. And Memorial Day, 7 p.m. at night, that thing died on me. So then there were like 4 cool days, and on Friday they had to crane it in. Look at this.
Oh,
And with the
down
cheapest
driveway.
bidder, that's sometimes you learn those lessons in life that what's cheap is expensive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've learned that a few times.
I've
in my
learned
life.
that. We've learned that a few times, right?
It's like you don't want to save a penny, and then by the time you have gray hairs, and that is a big boy. I remember.
They had to crane that in. Woof.
That's huge.
But it's in, and
It's
now you
in.
have air conditioning.
Yeah, and it hurt.
Oh, I bet it did. Ugh.
Yeah, that's not a fun one.
It's necessary, and it's nice and cool in the house. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the I've spent maybe 2 summers in Boise with no AC. Not since I was like in college, but
Not
you
even
learn
like a
pretty
window
fast.
one.
It's like not even a window one, just
Oh,
like
no.
no AC. There was one time that a buddy and I went to school in Caldwell at College of Idaho, and we came back for the summer, and we subleased from these 2 kids who were at Boise State. And those apartments that are right behind the Albertsons on Broadway. It was before the Albertsons on Broadway was there, but like Beacon right there.
Yeah.
So we sublet this apartment. It was like the second story apartment, and we like went in there. It was real like pretty nice. We were like, oh, this will be perfect for the summer. Neither of us even thought to like ask or check if it had AC. It did not have AC. And then when you're on the second story,
Heat.
it
Oh.
was just miserable summer. I was like, never again will I live a summer in Boise without AC. But I've done it twice, and you're like, let's go to the movies so we can have some air conditioning. Like, let's get out of the house because
Jump
it's
in the river.
So you don't know
so
this
bad.
because why would you? I lived in South Florida when I first moved from Poland. And the first place we lived, my room was behind the house in a cinder block shack that didn't have AC. So that was like a year and a half of that. And then we moved to a house that was built in the 1920s. So AC wasn't a thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And we couldn't even put like window units because it would blow breakers in that house. And then what became my room, do you guys know what a Florida room is?
No.
It's essentially a screened-in patio with like metal shutters on it for hurricanes.
Okay.
So that was my room. So those shutters would get hot all day long, whether they were closed or not.
And
And
radiate.
it could be 1 a.m. and my room was still like 92 degrees
Oh, it's brutal.
No.
and humid.
Yeah.
Ugh.
No thanks. But now we're in Boise and we've got
Yeah,
AC.
we got
we craned in a $15,000 AC unit.
Now we're good to go.
All right, let's get this started.
Yeah, absolutely. So, welcome to Rooted in Idaho. I should know the episode number, but I don't. 16?
Let's be number 1.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
number one.
We're number
Number
one.
16 on the schedule, but number 1 in our hearts. There you go. Right? And we
like
are
it.
we are lucky today to be joined by Mike K. I am gonna butcher the last name.
Don't.
But I'm gonna
It's
have you
okay.
say it for me here in a second.
Okay, go ahead.
And Mike is the executive director of the Downtown Family YMCA. Really excited to chat with Mike and hear all about what is going on with the YMCA. Obviously, we've got a brand new building.
Yeah, it's coming up. It's
coming
gonna
right
open
up.
up pretty soon here.
Yeah,
know.
super excited
I
about
like it.
that. And obviously, the YMCA does a lot of great stuff in our community. So,
Mm-hmm.
Mike, thank you for joining us for Rooted in Idaho. Excited to talk to you
It's a pleasure.
and give us the pronunciation of your last name
Yeah,
because I said
yeah,
it like
please do.
8 times before I did the intro.
Kapuscinski.
Kapuscinski.
We were trying to do that before we
Kapuscinski.
got on
It's
here.
close.
I said
It's
it.
good.
I said it to
It's good
myself
enough for
like
government
like
work, right?
8 times before we did, and then I got nervous on the intro, and I was like, "Nah, I'm not doing it." So, Kapuscinski, and it's Polish.
It's very Polish, yeah.
Yeah, very Polish.
Yes.
It starts with a K.
Yep.
All the things.
Ends
And
in
it has,
Szczynski.
and has a lot of vowels
Yep,
and,
yep.
and consonants in the middle, I would assume.
and I know, Mike, we'll get to the YMCA, but I think, we kind of wanted to learn a little bit about your story, right? I mean, coming from Poland and
Absolutely.
how you got here to America and where you are now. So why don't we take it back, like where you started in Poland, how you grew up, and go from there.
You guys gonna make me cry. It's a memory lane walk. There's like 2 stories in my life. It's the time that I had in Poland, and then it's the time that I had in the U.S. And the time that I had in Poland was very, very, very special. you know, I grew up in a family that was somewhat privileged, one might say very privileged, but in the time when communism was in charge of Poland. My father was a very accomplished basketball coach. My mom was a music teacher, music and history teacher. My mom left for the U.S. very early in my life. And at a certain point in my father's life, he stopped coaching. Alcohol got a hold of his life. And at one point, my grandparents became my parents. My grandpa worked for Dutch Airlines KLM. So under communism, he was able to earn foreign currency. And so that gave me somewhat of a life of a privilege.
Yeah.
But my friends didn't have that. And so very often, we would have them over to my house for dinners, meals. We had this beautiful summer house where we would go for the whole summer, and my classmates would go with me.
That's cool.
And, you know, as life goes on and you get older, by the time kids grow up much faster in Europe. So by the time you're like 8, 9 years old, you're taking buses and trains all over the cities, and you're doing your own thing. And under communism, we had two types of Boy Scouts. There were the state-sponsored Boy Scouts that were very much the Communist Party kind of development wing. And then we had church-affiliated Boy Scouts, which was us. And we didn't always play by the rules. I remember the very first time we got admitted into the organization. We had to meet at 3 a.m. in the woods on the cliffs overlooking the sea because the meetings weren't too appreciated by the state.
Wasn't really sanctioned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or the way we would camp in the summertime. We would go for 3 weeks, and the full first 4 to 5 days were spent building a camp. So you would build your latrines, you would build your field kitchen, you would build your zariba, which is a fence around the perimeter of the camp. You would build the entry gates, and then you would have your camp, and you'd do, orienteering things, all kinds of different things. One of my favorite games, which will seem crazy to most people listening to this podcast, is sometime during those 3 weeks, and you're talking about 8, 9-year-old boys all the way through, 18, 19-year-olds. Sometimes during those 2 weeks, late at night, you'd be woken up, and they would take away all of your documentation, all of your money, your knife would be taken away, you'd get blindfolded and thrown into a back of a pickup and driven out somewhere into the woods and dropped off solo.
With nothing.
With nothing. And your job in the middle of the night, wearing army fatigues in a communist country, was to find your way back to the camp.
Wow.
I loved the game. But
The game.
The game, yeah.
I loved the game.
Yeah.
But looking at it back now, it was kind of insane. And at the same time,
absolutely.
it teaches your self-reliance like nothing else.
100%.
So how many times did you find it back?
I found it back every time.
Oh, wow.
I after the first camp, I got really good. I got smart. I would sit in the woods really quietly and move only certain distances until I could hear road noise. Then I would get to the road, flag somebody down, and have them take me to the village I knew was closest to the camp,
Yeah.
and then find my bearings from that village.
Was it common that kids wouldn't find their way back?
No. They always gave us a 25 zloty piece, which was like a quarter, enough to make a phone call. And a little envelope in case you got stopped by police. And that was like a break in case of emergency. I don't know for sure, but the story was once one kid got caught, broke open the envelope, and in it said, "Hey, you got caught. Use the 25 cents to call your parents." So, but no, it was pretty common. Everybody always made it back. It was
It's kind of like a rite of passage a little bit, or like a...
Yeah, I mean, and we did, most of our games at camp were always very paramilitary, like capture the flag on steroids, those kind of things.
Also, just for my knowledge, and I guess the any listeners' knowledge, like what are we talking about here? Like what year?
Oh gosh,
what years were you in Poland? If you don't mind, sharing roughly your age with everybody.
All the way up until 89.
Until 89, okay.
Yeah, all the way up until 89, which was the funniest thing was, so, I end up leaving, and literally 5 months later, the free elections are held for the first time. But by then, I was already here. And so I did come from this kind of a life of privilege in Poland, not kind of a life of privilege. And I end up in South Florida in a very kind of a poor neighborhood.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I was the only white kid in like 8 blocks. I didn't speak any English. We were really poor. My mom cleaned other people's houses, which I helped her with. I did your typical immigrant's jobs growing up. I was a dishwasher at a diner.
Yeah.
And still have nightmares about that to this day.
Yeah. Well, how old were you when you came over to?
I was 14 and a half.
14 and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what, I guess, it sounds like you have a lot of perspective on your place of like privilege in Poland, right? And I could tell just you getting choked up thinking about your friends who didn't have the same privilege that you did and inviting them over for dinners or letting them come to the summer house. Like, it seems like you have like a lot of perspective on that. Where do you think that kind of came from? Was that just something that was ingrained in you, or?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. What I do know is, empathy and perspective are not something you're born with, right? That's something you build. I think my grandparents always taught me to share with people. They were really good at it. So that kind of a sharing or giving or whatever you want to call it, charity, but it's not really charity. That became very, very natural to me. And then having the perspective of not having things, right? Once I'm here in the U.S. and I don't have things anymore, that created an ability to deepen that empathy.
So it was almost, to some degree, like later in life that you were able to reflect back and have like the dual experience of being in a society where you're kind of on the privileged side and then being in a society where you were on the less privileged side and recognizing or having the experience of having both a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And, and that's kind of also where my journey with the YMCA started. In not too far in that neighborhood, there was a YMCA. And they figured out a way to keep their basketball gym open till 2 a.m. on Fridays and Saturday nights. So we could go and play basketball.
That's cool.
Instead of hanging out on the streets.
Yeah.
What nobody knew about me at the time is that I was a swimmer. I started competitive swimming when I was almost 6 years old. But we, certainly my family in the U.S. couldn't afford to pay for a team.
Yeah.
That Y had a pool that while the gym was open, I would sneak into and swim.
Okay.
Well, one Friday I came and they told me I don't have access. I have to come back on Monday and meet with the executive director. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm an idiot 15-and-a-half-year-old kid.
Yeah.
So I go on Monday and the guy's pretty kind of mad with me and I'm trying to explain to him, my English was really bad at the time, but I'm trying to explain to him that I need to swim. I love to swim. And he goes, well, just become a member. I'm like, we can't afford to be members. And, every YMCA in this country to whatever extent provides financial assistance. So I got financial assistance to go to that Y from him. And I got to swim on the team there, and eventually I got to swim on a bigger competitive team, and eventually I was swimming in high school. And here's like another fun immigrant thing. I knew there were college scholarships, but I only thought they gave them away for basketball and football because that's what the kids in my neighborhood talked about. Yeah. So my coach, my junior year, says, "Hey, you got to do your NCAA clearinghouse because you're gonna get a swimming scholarship." And it's $50 at the time. You had to pay $50 to NCAA to be in the clearinghouse. So I went home and I'm telling my mom this thing, and she goes, "You're an idiot. Nobody's gonna give you money for swimming. We're not spending $50 on it."
Yeah.
And so kind of junior year ends. Now we're in the senior year. My high school coach is asking me, "Do you have any offers?" I'm like, "No, we didn't do that. My mom says there are no scholarships for swimming." And so the coach sat me down and she plunked down her own 50 and she did that. And then lo and behold, offers started coming in.
Wow.
And I ended up swimming in a small D1 school.
That's awesome.
In Jersey City, New Jersey, of all the places. And, I kind of always volunteered with the Y when I was younger. I coached the little kids basketball, coached soccer. But then when I was in college, I didn't think of it. And then I remember my junior year, toward the end of my junior year in college, I was walking through the quad, and I'm like, next year, senior year, I'm finally done with this. And then again, just because I think the reflection just with time just kind of comes naturally, I started thinking, well, I wouldn't be here if that Y didn't give me a scholarship or financial aid to be able to continue to swim. And probably within a week, I was volunteering, coaching swimming to adults at a YWCA in Jersey City. And after that, after I graduated, no matter where I moved, no matter what city I was in the States, because I started with an engineering and construction firm, Raytheon, then the Morrison and Knudsen, then Washington Group, all the different evolutions of it. Yeah. I always found a Y that I volunteered in. And so when there was a time in my life where, we were moving to Boise, and I think we were at the Downtown Y within 3 days of getting to Boise, and I figured out ways to volunteer at that way, coaching swimming, participating on the advisory committees. And when I no longer wanted to work for a for-profit company, the Y was just such a natural fit for me. And I even remember asking myself at the time, why the Y? Which is a question you can ask yourself at any given point. And for me, it really was, the Y gave me so much, but it gave me an opportunity to feel better than what I was feeling, right? I was feeling pretty low in my life as a kid. I didn't see a path forward in the United States for me. I was probably depressed, getting into all kinds of trouble. And the YMCA was the one that kind of kickstarted me in the right direction and the right path. And so what I tell people, I work at the Y so I can make sure that no other kid ever feels the way I felt. Yeah. When I was volunteering at the Y, somebody asked me, why do you volunteer? And I said, well, I'm selfish. It makes me feel good. Over the years, somebody else told me, well, that's not selfish. That's enlightened self-interest.
It's a nice rebrand.
Right, because you're doing something for others that makes you feel good. Yeah, so enlightened self-interest. And I mean, that's why I'm at the Y. It's an opportunity every day to have an impact, to change somebody's life, to lead a team that changes other people's lives. I have an incredible team at that Downtown YMCA. And so I get to be a part of this organization here in the Treasure Valley that every day impacts our communities in a positive way, on a macro scale and on a micro scale. We've restarted since the pandemic doing our Make a Splash program, which is a program that takes third graders for free in lieu of PE, brings them on a bus to the Y, and teaches them how to swim. And nowhere was the impact of that greater than in Caldwell. In Caldwell, pre-pandemic, we used to do all of third graders for Valley View School District and second graders for Caldwell District. And I remember 15 years ago, what we do on day one, we kind of do an assessment of the kids. Yeah. So, where their skill levels are. Part of the assessment is walk over to the deep end, jump in, turn around, and get yourself out.
Just throw them in the middle, say get in, start swimming.
Pretty much. And if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. And so 13 years ago, looking at that, I would say about 20% of kids in the Caldwell School District were willing to walk over to that deep end, jump in, and do the thing. And time went on, and you don't notice small differences, but time went on, I wasn't in Caldwell anymore as often. And then one day we were having Make a Splash in Caldwell, and the pandemic was 5 years ago, so probably 5-6 years ago now. And I'm on the pool deck watching the first day assessment. And next to me stands the superintendent of the Valley View School District, Lisa, whom I've known as a principal throughout the years. And I'm watching this assessment happen, and almost all the kids go to the deep end, jump in and get out. I'm like, oh, what happened? And she looks at me and she goes, well, you don't know what happened? I'm like, no, I mean, I remember nobody would want to do this. And she goes, because these kids have older siblings that have been through the program. Yeah. So then those older siblings are more likely to teach their younger siblings how to be safe in the water and how to be around water. And I just stood there in awe because I thought, wow, I'm a part of an organization that literally changed an entire school district.
Yeah, the ripple effect of all
From
that.
non-swimmers to kids that are now safe and confident around water. How crazy is that, right? That's a macro level change.
Consistency over time.
Right? But there's these micro things that we can do too. Some kind of a chemical dependency will happen to 1 out of every 6 Americans. Whether it's legal or illegal, it will happen. And you say, well, that's sad, and I wish things were better. There's another, even sadder statistic that comes with that. Roughly 8 to 12% of all kids born every year in the U.S. will have been exposed to some kind of a substance habitually, not one time, but habitually, while in utero. So when they're born with addiction built in. 8 to 12% doesn't sound that crazy, although I think it's too much, but I'm going to translate it into numbers for you. That's roughly 300,000 to 500,000 births in the U.S. every year will be born with some kind of a dependency.
That's nuts.
Just recently, you want to talk about micro things. A 51-year-old man walks into the Y, and he's about to graduate from rehab. He's a 51-year-old single guy. Except he just adopted a 6-month-old that was exposed in utero. Because he wants that 6-month-old to have a chance at a better life, chance that he's getting at 51.
Yeah.
And so he's coming to the Y because he wants to have a place where he has a community where he can get healthier, fitter, whatever fit means to him. But he also wants a place where his child can be cared for and he doesn't have to worry about them. And when you're in rehab and when you're graduating and when you're doing all these things, money are a problem. And we're able to say to him, hey, it's not a problem. Here's financial aid. Get your life together. Get a good start for this kid in life. And so when you ask why, like the macro and the micro, like the things that the Y is able to do, and for me to be a part of it and kind of giving back for what it gave me, I can't imagine doing anything else in life.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
that's a good connection to be able to have, right? Especially when you're talking with members, like you went through it yourself. And I think that's the best way to connect with a lot of those members, especially when they're like, why the Y and why do we come here? It's like, well, I'm a product of the Y and now look where I am, right?
Yeah,
I think that's a cool thing. And then I also think too, it looks back to our community too in Boise, but before we get there, I want to take a couple steps back. We were talking about, you came from Poland to Florida, then to Jersey, and then to Boise.
There were a couple of different places in between, nothing, but yeah, I ended up in Boise.
And how was that? How'd that happen?
Oh gosh, Washington Group had an adventure racing team.
Adventure racing team?
Yeah.
So you worked for Morrison Knudsen?
Yeah.
My dad worked for Morrison Knudsen Washington Group and URS for like his whole entire career. His name's Tom Allen. He was in like marketing and proposals.
Yes, I know Tom Allen.
Yeah, that's my dad.
I worked for him.
Did you?
Yes.
That's awesome. When you said Morrison
He was
Knudsen.
my first boss here in Boise.
No way. That's awesome. There you go.
He was infrastructure.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, proposals and
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's awesome.
Small
That's
town.
cool.
Yeah,
Is he still in Boise?
Yeah, he's still in Boise. He retired when this is a total side tangent for the podcast, but when URS took over, they were,
I kind of get out of URS took over
he was
as well.
he was pretty close to retirement anyway, and they wanted
Does he still match his colored shirts with his
Oh
dress
yeah.
shirts? He would always wear like a T-shirt of a color to match it with very dapper man.
Yeah. So when URS, because he worked for MK and then Washington Group. Like that was the only. My dad's truly worked for one company his entire career, so he was hired there in, I want to say 1979 and worked there until 2015 when he retired.
That's crazy.
Went through all the different acquisitions and everything, but Morrison Knudsen.
URS.
So,
no shade on URS. It was just a different.
It was just different, yeah. And they were, his job was getting relocated to Salt Lake. I think they gave him the opportunity to move to Salt Lake. And he was like, I'm not moving to Salt Lake. I'll just retire. But anyway, yeah, that's funny.
Nice,
So,
like,
there's
small world.
super small. There's a Boise connection for you right there
Yeah,
on
yeah.
rooted in Idaho,
I know,
right?
isn't that cool?
We're all just a couple degrees of separation apart from one another in this town, huh?
It's always interesting. It doesn't matter if you go out to a restaurant, you see people you know. I mean, it's just that's what makes it so cool.
Well, I mean, this is. So we had this adventure racing team, and we came out to Boise to train, and to meet with Steve Hanks, who was then CEO.
Yeah.
And we flew in on a late Friday night, and we stayed at that hotel right by where Chick-fil-A is now,
Yeah.
right across from the plaza. And woke up Saturday morning to go for a run, just started running in the foothills, and I just went, this is beautiful.
Yeah. Where were you living at the time?
Princeton, New Jersey.
Okay.
And I was like, this is beautiful here. I was just outside of Princeton. It's just breathtaking. And I immediately fell in love with it. And I was in this top 100 young talent program. So when jobs started opening up in Boise, it was easier for me to move.
Yeah.
And so we came out. It was Mother's Day weekend when we came out. And then by January 5th, I was living in Boise with my family.
That's awesome.
And you want to talk about the Boise community. We were blown away. Our stuff was traveling across the country on a truck. And we rented a small little house in the East End, right off East State Street. And your dad's admin had boxes for us with towels and mugs and, things for the kids. Something that I don't think would have happened on the East Coast. It was just so natural for somebody that lives in Boise to just say, hey, we know you don't have much right now. Here's the things to hold you over.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I was like, we're in a really good place. This is amazing.
That's cool.
So you came in at East Boise and rented there?
Yeah.
So you didn't really move very far for location
Well,
since you've been here.
We did a ton of research, right? Because we had little kids at the time, and we wanted kids in certain school zones. And so it was East State Street.
Yep.
And then moved up the hill, and then moved one hill over.
Yep.
You find where you like, and you
I know.
You plant your
Look
roots.
at that, Southeast Boise
Yeah,
guy.
I'm a Southeast Boise guy. Born and raised Southeast Boise, still live in Southeast Boise. I love it over there.
I'm only transient, I guess.
You're an opportunist.
Okay, there you go.
That's funny.
But yeah, that's how I ended up in Boise. And
Yeah. What brought you to the U.S. from Poland?
like I said, there
It's
was
just the communism and
communism, and my grandparents were kind of getting tired of my antics.
Okay.
Yeah. But your mom was
So
here.
your mom was
My mom
here,
was
and so
here.
they
She
were
was
like,
in
"You're going to the
Florida.
U.S. to live with your mom,"
my
kind of a
grandpa
thing.
was able to get me a passport, get me a stamp.
What were your emotions around that at the time? Like, were you excited to come to the U.S.? Were you not? Were you wanting to stay in Poland? What do you remember where you were at mentally?
Yeah, I can tell you, I was super excited. And then 3 days after we landed, I realized where I'm living, how hard it is to communicate with people, how alien everything Americans did was to me.
Yeah.
And I remember the first 6 months, I cried almost every day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Massive culture shock.
A huge culture shock. What's acceptable in Europe or even in Poland, what's acceptable here or not acceptable, vice versa. There's such different things that when you're 14 years old, by 14 you have built this support system of friends and you know who you kind of are in this environment, and all of a sudden you're finding yourself in a place where all of that is gone.
Yeah.
And you don't even have the language skills to start building.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to learn English?
I had some base from my grandparents, but really it was probably a pretty intense 6-month effort of like watching a lot of Nick at Night.
Yeah, let's go Nick at Night.
You're laughing about the old shows from like 60s, the pace of the language and how descriptive the language is to what they were doing in those shows.
Yeah.
That was a good way to learn.
Yeah.
Wow, not in school, right?
I was in school, but I was going.
Shout out Nick at Night. That's a throwback
I would
right
say
there.
no free ads, but let's go.
Yeah, no free ads, but Nick at Night was pretty awesome.
Yeah, Nick at Night was awesome. And so I watched a ton of television. I was in an English-speaking school, and probably 6 to 9 months, I was able to get by. I would say it took probably another 2 years for me to have this moment of, people say you know a language when you dream in it, and I would say you don't really know what you're dreaming, right? Your brain tells you later. we think we dreamt this. The moment that that it clicked for me that I now know English was I got up in the morning and I was like, hey, what do I want for breakfast? You know, an internal dialogue going
Oh, the
on.
internal monologue.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
What do I want for? I think I'm gonna have a bagel with some cream cheese. I'm like, I gotta make sure I get to school on time. And this entire time between breakfast and school, everything that I'm thinking about, I'm thinking in English.
Interesting.
And so I got to school at probably like halfway to the first period. I'm like, I've been thinking in English all day.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And that's kind of when you know a language. And
Yeah.
then there's this other moment in life where you are able to think and switch between whatever languages you want mid-sentence and stay on topic.
Yeah.
So
And
if you didn't
that's-
like your teachers, you'd just speak another language.
Just Polish.
No, I mean, I wasn't in that place yet.
Okay.
That took until I was in college, where I no longer had to think about what I'm going to say or what language
Yeah.
I'm going to say it in. I would just say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
How's your Polish these days?
heavily accented. My family makes fun of me when I go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I understand everything. I can say everything. I never left that language behind.
Yeah. The value of having it ingrained from a young age, probably.
Yeah,
is
and
just-
along the
yeah.
way, I picked up Spanish. I learned French in school.
Dang.
Well, he's
My wife is also bilingual.
Raise your hand if you speak more than one language. Oh, there's only one hand. Though. Yeah.
My wife is
what if you
also
have Spanish?
bilingual, so it's
That's
kind
awesome.
of nice to have that.
Yeah, super nice.
We were in Italy, and none of us speaks Italian, but she's fluent in Spanish, and I get by pretty well in Spanish. And we could speak with Italians in Spanish, and they understood us, and we
Yeah.
understood them.
yeah.
Or we recently had an exchange student, and one of her exchange friends was from Czech Republic. Well, I don't speak a lick of Czech. She doesn't speak a lick of Polish. We could speak in our native tongues and have a 90% understanding.
Just because the languages are close enough? Or?
The languages are close enough.
Yeah.
Right? They come from the same family of languages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's always been kind of cool. But I tell people, you will know when you master the language, when you can be in the middle of a sentence and change it, but still be on topic.
Keep the
without
thread.
thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is interesting. Yeah.
Now, you talked about a little bit when you came from Poland to Florida, to America too, that there was cultural differences.
Yeah.
Can you touch on just a few of those? I'm curious about those.
Oh gosh,
Give us the tea.
I'll give you the tea, but I have to keep it sanitary.
Yeah, please do. It's
You
a
are,
family show.
you are representing the YMCA.
I am representing.
I was going to say there's no rules on
Why
this
don't-
podcast.
Let's not ruin
but-
Idaho
I will say
after
this,
dark.
I will say
Okay.
this. One of the biggest culture shocks for me was the fact that guys wouldn't take showers after PE.
Oh,
I was baffled by it, especially because now we're having PE in 95-degree weather, 95% humidity,
yeah.
where teenage boys will smell like goats, and I'm like, hey, I'm taking a shower. I'm stepping into the shower. I don't care what you
But that
guys
happened
think.
in Poland a lot. I mean, is that
That's normal.
Okay.
In Poland, you do PE, you take a shower before you go to class. You don't
Okay.
want to smell in class.
okay?
Yeah.
That was a culture shock to me. I was like, why are we not taking And of course, I was made fun of for taking the shower. And in my brain, I'm going, well, at least I'm not going to smell like a goat. So whatever. But that was like one of the biggest things. The other thing, my neighborhood that I lived in was predominantly Black and Hispanic and Haitian. So you layer onto that this culture shock of it's America, but it's also this different American culture.
Sure.
And so pretty quickly I realized there are layers to American culture, depending on what your education is, depending on what your skin color is. At that time, there were just some drastic differences.
It's the melting pot, right? Yeah.
Right.
You
So-
really experienced that.
So the first English that I was speaking was heavily urban English.
Yeah.
Not until do I get to high school, and I end up in a private Catholic high school, which I got a scholarship to be in, and I had to fill every day before and after school all of the machines with cans of soda and everything else. Not until I get to that school, all of a sudden, does my English start changing.
Before that, it was a combination of
It
Nick
was-
at Night and the.
Nick at night, and whatever I could-
What you were
And
getting in the neighborhood
whatever
you
I
were
got
growing
Street
up.
language.
Yeah.
In Poland, where you live, what kind of a town did you live in Poland? Were you in an urban area? Were you in a more
Very
rural?
urban area, coastal town on the Baltic coast. about the size of Boise. It's kind of a tri-city. There are 3 cities within, I would say, 10 miles of each other that just kind of spread out.
Yeah.
Beautiful city, but pretty urban.
Yeah.
The other culture shock was I was used to independence. I mean, not driving a car, but I was used to independence.
Yeah.
Getting on a bus, going to do something, getting on a local train, going to do something. And all of a sudden, I was stuck.
Yeah.
You were in that neighborhood, and unless you had a bike, you were in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of communication or mobility. Now, again, understanding with time, I totally get it. There's way more room in America. You can spread out.
Yeah.
And if you spread out, you're going to need a car. And so a car is going to become your predominant mode of transportation. And so public transportation becomes less of a need. When we're in Europe, I don't ever have a car. Public transportation gets you everywhere. My joke is the tiniest village in Europe, there will be a bus that will stop there at least once a day. You can get there. But that's not the case here. So some of those cultural differences were kind of hard to learn.
Yeah.
But with time, you absorb them, you learn what it is, and you understand why they are. So now it's kind of neat for me because I have this understanding of, hey, what you grew up in as a culture and where you end up in as a culture can be both. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so you get to Florida, you experience America, Jersey City, a bunch of different cities. We don't have to get into now that you went to, but then you end up in Boise. How can you compare Boise as it is getting here compared to the other cities in a sense of community and what that looks like?
I will say this flat out. I mean, other than the job that I love here, I can live anywhere.
Yeah.
And I don't want to leave Boise.
Yeah.
If that's the bottom line of this comparison, is I can live anywhere in the world. What you learn when you move countries at that age, or even as a young person, is if you can move countries, if you can succeed in a country, you can succeed anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
Right? It's just a matter of how much discomfort you're willing to go through. And I don't want to leave Boise. Heck, I don't want to leave the East End. You made a point of that. I'm like, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. The people in Boise, it's like I have not experienced that anywhere else in the U.S. The way people are supportive of one another here, how charitable the community is, how the ones who are wealthy in the community are willing to give that to better the community, how humble people are of every walk of life. I'd like to think that for, the first 80 years of Boise was really an island in the sea of high desert.
Yeah.
And so this community had to be supportive of each other. And I think that trend, that makeup, that DNA continues on in the Treasure Valley. People are supportive of each other. People are willing to hear each other out. Even amid all of this discourse that's really upsetting to everybody, Boiseans still find a way to have a conversation around the topics without generally getting negative to either side of the point. And I think that is very unique to Boise.
Yeah.
And for better or worse, I think that's why Boise is such a magnet for so many diverse individuals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's great. It's kind of that joke about, U.S. being a melting pot. I think Boise is truly a melting pot of opinions, individuals, traditions, and it's all absorbed in here in this nice little package where I know that I can disagree with Spencer on a number of things, and I also know that if I say to Spencer, hey, I'm building a fence, can you help? Spencer's going to be there to help.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of Boise. It's truly this community that's supportive of one another.
It's a good energy.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you find yourself in the role of executive director at the Downtown Family YMCA? Did you start because you were in
No.
you were in the private sector, and
Yeah.
then it sounds like you decided that you didn't want to work for profit companies
Yeah.
anymore and wanted to kind of
So all this
go back to your roots.
all this aquatic background I have,
Yeah.
it was just natural for me to work in aquatics, and I ended up getting a job as an aquatic director at the Downtown YMCA.
Okay. How many years ago?
16.
16 years
16, 7 days ago.
ago. Okay.
16,
Happy anniversary. Happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
16, 7 years ago. 7 days ago. And so from that point, I just kind of my career with the Y kept growing and growing, and the Y was generous enough to be supportive of the things I was doing. One of the beauty of working for the Y is you can truly chart your own career path. And if you have good ideas, innovative ideas, ideas that make business sense, you can grow quite a bit. So at one point, I was the aquatics director for all of the pools in the Treasure Valley that we have. And then we were building the Tomlinson South Meridian YMCA. And I was like, wow, how cool would it be to open up a Y?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I applied for that position, and I was fortunate enough to receive it. And I got to open up the Tomlinson South Meridian Y, right? I was the executive director. Everybody opened it up together. But it was such a beautiful experience. But I always missed my downtown Y. My downtown Y was always my home.
Yeah.
And so when an opportunity came up at the same position at downtown, I applied, and again was fortunate enough to get it. And shout out to all of the Y members, but my downtown members, man, you guys make that place home. I remember the first day I walked into the Downtown Y as an executive director, I was just like, I'm home again.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
And you know, and now I get the opportunity to together with all of my Y teammates, open up another Y.
Yeah.
This $80 million building that we're building right across the street. And that's again kind of like, wow, most people don't get to open one Y in their career. I get to do it twice.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
cool. It's got to be kind of bittersweet because the Downtown Y has been sort of a fixture of the Boise community
Yep.
for so long. And obviously it's got its quirks, right? We can say that building has its quirks.
I mean, you had a membership there, didn't you?
Yeah,
How about
no.
this? It's well used.
It's well used.
It's well
Well,
used.
here's what I'll relate it to. So I grew up in the southeast part of Boise, and golf is a big part of my background. So Warm
Your
Springs
dad-
Golf
your dad is
Course.
big golf.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
So Warm Springs Golf Course is kind of like where I grew. I mean, I had a junior membership. I'd get dropped off there. From the time I was 14, I started working there. And for years, that public golf course had the clubhouse was like two double wide trailers
Yep.
smushed together, and that was the clubhouse. And it was, it was what it was, right? It was well used. It was a little quirky. And then they just built this $13 million brand new clubhouse that's beautiful, and it's expansive. It's beautiful. It's, they did an incredible job with it, but it's like this bittersweet moment because it's this place that holds such a, special part of you because you're like, I grew up here. I have so much history here, and I'm, I joke like I'm old Warm Springs, right? But then there's like this pride at the same time to see the new thing
For sure.
unveiled and built, but you kind of like, it changes the dynamic a little bit. You go from like a double wide trailer or an old, well-used building to like this brand new facility. And you're like, oh, I have like these weird mixed emotions about this because I can appreciate this new thing, but I kind of miss the old thing to a degree.
Later on top, I watched my kids grow up in that.
Yeah, yeah.
They were in there every day.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there is a dichotomy there. There is this push and pull of excitement about this new building and how much more we will be able to do for the community with it. And at the same time saying goodbye to this building that's been around since 1967.
It's a fixture.
It's an absolute fixture. And, some of my older members, the ones that have been members for 20, 30 years, we will have conversations about it and how bittersweet that moment is going to be.
Yeah.
There's going to be a moment when we're just going to close the doors and that's it.
Yeah.
Those doors will be closed. And
That's-
All the
we're gonna-
nooks and crannies and
Yep.
random
I
hallways.
remember trying to get to the basketball court. I always remember that. I walked through these little hallways. All of a sudden, it just
Like,
opens
where?
up and you have a
Yeah.
full basketball court. I'm like, how did we get here?
Where
This is
am
not
I?
fire
I mean,
code.
that's a great place to play hide and go seek.
I know.
it's a well-loved, well-used building where entire generations have grown up.
Absolutely.
Literally, we now have parents having their kids in swimming lessons who were in swimming lessons when I first started.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Right, and those kids, their parents are still there. So it's like it's generations of
Yeah.
people in that building.
Yeah.
The Y has a great campaign this year. It's called That Place. No place like that place.
Yeah.
And I think it's true of all of the YMCAs across the nation. There is no other place like a YMCA. But I can tell you for a fact that Downtown YMCA is so special to so many people in this community, which is why it was so crucial for us to get everything in the new building right.
Yeah.
I often joke with my team, we will continue to do the same things we do now. We will continue to serve our mission. We will continue to serve the community. We will do the same things, but we will do them different now because it's a different building. It's different things. Some things we will no longer be able to do, but we'll be able to do some more new things. Yeah. And I think it's bittersweet, but there's also this thought of this building that we're building right now is built for what the community needs today and in the future.
Well, it's made possible by
Yep.
the existing building and everything
Absolutely.
all the memories that's held. So
And how
really
generous
cool.
people are too, right? I mean,
Right,
you
right.
talked about that with the funding. I mean, you know, you had some different things you had to go through with the different apartments that were going to be built and not, and then a lot of funding came in to help, you know, finish that off, right?
Yeah, and I will say we're still not finished fundraising.
Yeah.
We have this, I just heard my CEO say this yesterday, so I'm going to quote him. We're on a road to zero. We would like to be able to open it up and have as little debt as possible, or no debt. So if there's anybody that's interested in giving, please come find us.
yeah, absolutely.
Any amount matters. And I know that sounds like such a slogan, but literally any amount matters. You give what is significant to you.
Yeah.
And what's significant is different from one person to another.
Yeah. What are some of the amenities or some of the exciting parts of this new building? Because I think a lot of us who live in Boise, you know, we've been driving by, we've been seeing kind of the building come together, but it's like what's in store for us inside the walls?
All right, I'll go floor by floor.
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll start in the basement,
It's just like the tour.
which is not the basement. We don't call it the basement. If you went to the Y as a kid, you probably ended up in the youth activities center.
Mm-hmm.
You were no longer in kids zone. We used to call it child watch. You were in the youth activities center, and there you kind of had some unstructured play and fun.
Mm-hmm.
We're no longer going to have a youth activities center. What we are going to have is a maker space. So kids can learn how to do video editing. 'Cause we're going to have a green screen. We're going to have a music recording studio.
Oh, wow.
So kids can record music, podcasts, video casts, whatever. We're going to have some computers where kids can learn design. We're going to have 3 separate 3D printers, all using different materials.
Wow.
And we're going to have programming around all those things. You know, we already do enrichment programming after school for what I think is a bargain. $30 a month gets you enrichment programming after school.
Wow.
A couple of days a week. In that makerspace, we will truly be able to bring kids along and young teens into a space of, this is about you. This is your journey. This is how you want to see the world. This is how you want to create the world.
Yeah, it's cool.
And the biggest flip in thinking happened a couple of weeks ago, where my youth director, Kasey Allen, said, well, this doesn't just have to be open for kids. During the day, we can hold learning classes for adults. Here's how you do these things, you know, or a knitting club or whatever. It's truly a makerspace where people of all ages can get together and make things, create things. And I think that's a really cool space in that,
Really cool.
on that floor. We're also going to have our Thrive programming. So Thrive started up at Tomlinson. I'll try to be brief about it. Thrive stands for Together Helping Reach Inclusive Victories Every Day. When we first opened up Tomlinson, this space did not exist. But what existed was a good number of youth with neurodiverse abilities or neurodiversity.
Yeah.
Significant portion of the population. At that time, West Ada School District had about 4,400 students that were in some kind of way neurodiverse or differently abled. So that's 10% of West Ada population students.
Oh, I didn't know that. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. And as we progress with diagnoses for different neurodiversities, we are able to identify more and more individuals who need things, spaces, to feel welcome, to feel part of. Just like at Tomlinson, at this Downtown YMCA, we are going to have a two-story play structure for adults and kids alike. But at Tomlinson, because we had so many parents that were coming up to us asking questions, where do you have for my kid with ADHD, Down syndrome, autism, we eventually ended up holding neurodiversity nights in that play structure. Whether you remember or not, you could bring your neurodiverse family member and play, but you also are going to bring a family member that will have a conversation with us about what inclusion looks like to them. And we learned a lot, and the biggest learning we learned that we don't really know anything, so we did some more learning. We created a advisory committee that was organized from parents of kids with neurodiversities, neurodiverse individuals, paraprofessionals, physicians. And that committee still exists to this day. And then with a generous donation from Blue Cross Blue Shield and a private donor, we built a $2 million neurodiversity center called Thrive.
Wow.
But building is not enough. You now have to figure out how to make things happen. And, you know, we created a full suite of programming for all ages that allows everybody to feel welcomed and included. And they are neurodiverse programs or differently abled programs, but neurotypical individuals are 100% welcome to participate. And it's so neat to watch kids learn from each other. I remember the first year that we had neurodiverse summer day camps. One of the things that we had was these kind of neurodiverse kids that if a kid felt overwhelmed, they could put on headphones, do whatever they needed. And this was day 3, so Wednesday. And one of the neurotypical kids yells out, "Hey, kid with headphones." And another neurotypical kid looks at him, he goes, "His name is Ali."
Yeah.
And so the kid immediately corrected and said, "Hey, Ali." Right? The kids, they just learn from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we also have programs like life skills for young adults, where in our teaching kitchen, which we will also have at the new Downtown Y, they can learn how to make their own food, be in a kitchen, balance a checkbook, fill out a job application, get a resume together. And it's an 8-week long course where they learn how to be independent. Their parents learn how to let go and allow them to be independent. So we will also have a Thrive Center at the new Downtown YMCA.
That's awesome.
It will have a calming cabana. It will have therapy swings. It will have a ninja course. And we're still on the first floor because we're going to have a bigger and better cycle studio than what we have right now.
Okay.
It's a massive space dedicated to indoor cycling with 2 94-inch television screens.
Wow.
And it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, because that's all still on the first floor.
Yeah, we're still...
On the basement, really, yeah.
Let's not call it basement. The imagination spot.
The imagination spot. Whoops.
And that's right in there, alongside of a bar studio, a martial arts studio.
Yeah.
That's just there. And then you move up to the first floor, and that's where the 2-story play structure is.
Okay.
And that's where the teaching kitchen is. And that's where the pool is. So it's more accessible. You no longer have to go up and down stairs or elevators. You can just go to the pool.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite spots on that floor is our intergenerational space. So it's right outside of the teaching kitchen, and one of our in-house designers designed it in a very much an Art Deco style that feels like a cafe. lounging chairs, couches, and we give free coffee now. Shout out to Cafe Mole. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
We give free coffee now at Downtown YMCA. We're going to continue that. But that's a space where people of all ages can come together, connect, do puzzles, play games, drink a cup of coffee. I think when you think about the community that the Y is and the downtown Y is, that's going to be an ideal spot for that community to continue to thrive. And you see that community every day in our tiny little lobby, people sitting around coffee tables, active older adults gathering together after their classes. That's going to be the spot.
Yeah.
And then we still have more tables as you move out, so parents can sit down, have a coffee, read a book, work on their computer while looking through the glass at their kiddo getting swimming lessons. Pretty incredible. Okay, so we done 2 floors now?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move up a floor. On this floor, we will have sports recovery. So we will have hydromassagers, cryotherapy. My favorite, we will have cold plunge that you get to keep your clothes on because you stay dry. Just kind of sit down in a pad, close it, and it chills you up.
Interesting.
And that's all part of membership, right?
That's, yes. Some of the things, there's probably going to be an add-on of $5 to $10 a month.
Yeah.
But there's going to be some of those also as well as part of your membership.
Yeah.
On that floor also, most people probably don't know this. We do classes that are designated evidence-based health interventions. And what it is, it's classes geared towards certain chronic diseases. So we have rack steady boxing for folks who have Alzheimer's. We have movement for better balance. We have cognitive classes to help with cognitive declines. We have cancer survivorship classes in communities. And when I say evidence-based health interventions, we actually have evidence that when you attend those classes, while we cannot change whatever chronic disease you are dealing with, we can delay its progress. We had a dear friend over at Tomlinson, older gentleman. He was in our Parkinson's, delayed the disease. That's another Parkinson's class we have. And the progression of his Parkinson's slowed down dramatically. And then we went into pandemic and we were shut down for 3 months. And 3 months later, what happened to him within those 3 months was it just progressed rapidly. And then we were back to doing delay the disease, and it slowed down again.
Yeah.
And we see that time and time and time again. So that's going to be in the studio on that floor. We're also going to have our mindfulness studio, which no longer will yoga and yoga-like classes be conducted in the basement in a dark room. Beautiful views of the foothills, that's right there. And on the other end of that floor, we will have our e-gym. If you want to experience e-gym, you can go to any one of our other locations. But essentially what e-gym is, I'd like to say it's the optimal workout for you on any given day. So what we do is we take you in on day one, and we're going to do a bunch of different measurements with a computer and a machine, and that machine is going to spit out your bio age at you and your true age, and your goal is to lower your bio age.
Yeah.
It's almost a perfect add-on. If you have a personal trainer that you're seeing once or twice a week, then you add that on for yourself to continue that work you're doing with.
Yeah, that's cool.
And each of the machines will know that it's Spencer coming up to the machine because there's going to be an app on your phone. And it's going to know Spencer's coming up, so it's going to adjust the seat
It's going to make the weights really light.
almost
Make
always.
it make it super easy.
But what
The
it
nap
really does,
pod opens up.
what it
Lights
really does is
down.
adjust your seat height, your reach height, everything to you.
Yeah.
So by the time you sit down, you're making no adjustments.
Yeah.
And it is resistance based, and there's kind of a little dot on screen that moves through a path, and your job is to keep the dot on path.
Nice.
That's cool.
And so it's going to give you the right amount of resistance. I like to call it challenge you optimally.
Yeah.
So on any given day, you never go too little, because I know how you like to go too little. But you also never go too heavy.
Does it have like a bench only feature? Because that's what Spencer's looking for.
What do you mean prison workout? Dips, bench, and push-ups. What else do you need?
It does have those things. So it's 13 separate pieces of equipment that gives you a total body
Pull-ups.
workout in
That's awesome.
a way that you always know you did your best on that day, and it tracks you. So every month or two, you can go back to the main computer, we call it the hub, and say, ooh,
I got
my
better.
bio age
Yeah.
just dropped 2 years, and I got stronger and fitter.
Yeah.
And
That's
awesome.
cool.
so that's that floor. And I forgot there was also, I talked about the aquatic center. And then you go a floor up. So now we're floor 3. And this entire floor is workout.
Yeah.
So on that floor, if
The
you
good
think
stuff. Weights.
weights,
Pull-up bars.
it gets really good. But all of the cardio equipment faces the foothills.
Heck yeah.
So when
That
you're
is a
on,
cool view.
when you're on cardio, and you've seen the view.
Well, yeah, but what's the room on the back though? Isn't that a meeting
I'm
room?
gonna get there.
Sorry.
I'm
Whoa.
gonna get there.
Spoiler alert.
I'm gonna get there. So you're on that cardio equipment, looking at foothills, unobstructed. What an amazing thing! One of our biggest group exercise studios, our biggest group exercise studios on that floor as well. But all of cardio, all of weights, all of selectorized lines of equipment, they're all gonna be in that one big space.
Yeah.
So you don't have to walk between rooms to get your workout. It all happens right there. In a basketball gym, and right next to the basketball gym, a massive space with at least 5 Olympic lifting platforms,
Oh wow.
sleds to push and pull, tires to flip, and it's all turf.
All right, I'm
And
sold.
again,
Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah.
views of foothills and the
Yeah.
Capitol. And that's in that space, including an adult jungle gym.
Wow.
So for those of us that are into functional fitness, there's your space. There's where
Yeah.
you live.
Wow.
So that entire floor is dedicated to fitness. And, I forgot. How could I forget? So many things.
There's a lot of things to remember, it
There's
sounds like.
so
I'm like,
many
is there
things.
anything the Y doesn't do?
Yeah.
A Pilates studio. We will have a
Oh,
Pilates,
Pilates
studio, with reformers.
Nice. Wow.
So folks can...
this is truly a,
Me, I can get in
one-stop
there.
shop
You can
right
get
here. You can do
everything in one
everything
spot.
you
I know.
need at the
Well,
YMCA.
when does it open though?
We're right on track to open as we promised in the fourth quarter of the year.
Okay.
And some more information is going to be coming out about that.
Wow, sounds incredible.
Well, I mean, you're en route in Idaho. I mean, should we get a sneak peek here?
I am happy.
Exclusive scoop.
Yeah, let's
Let's
go.
do
I
our
am
exclusive
happy.
scoop music.
We get a few. What did we get? What was the last one we
That's
got?
it.
I can't remember.
We are so
many.
happy to give you a preview. And then you go a floor up, and on that floor, you have a walking track.
Oh, awesome.
It's above the pool.
And it's above the basketball
Yep.
court and the fitness space.
Yeah.
And you get 270 degrees view of the foothills, the Capitol, and downtown
Awesome.
as you walk and run on that track.
Walking and running track,
Yep,
indoor
yep,
track.
yep.
Wow.
And some meeting spaces, a community pantry. So there's a lot.
Yeah, that sounds incredible.
It's really it's gonna be
I'm sold. I'm excited.
yeah.
Really? You're making the move?
I mean, Mike sold me over here.
No
I
pivot
I didn't know that I
anymore,
was
huh?
coming in here for a sales pitch, but I don't think he was trying to sell me, but I'm pretty sold. I know.
I'm not trying to sell.
Hey,
you, but
it sells itself.
He had me at
Look
free
at all the-
coffee. So
No, shut up, Matt.
I'd like to think there's a lot of gyms,
Yeah.
and some are great, some are good. I don't like to think of a Y as a gym.
Yeah, well, and that's what I was. As you were saying all of this, I was kind of thinking that of like, there is this almost misconception of the Y like as a gym, right? The YMCA
is
is
a
a gym,
part of what we
and
do.
that's just a small part of
Yeah.
the programming that you guys offer. When you're talking about podcast studios and
Yep.
teaching kids to use 3D printers and all this stuff, I'm like, oh, I had no idea that was in the scope of what the YMCA offers. But that's really cool. It truly is kind of something for everybody, right?
Let me blow your mind even more.
Well,
We are the largest.
I'm ready for this.
We are the
Send it.
largest provider of childcare in the state.
Oh wow.
We have 33 childcare facilities between Micron and Weezer.
Whoa.
Where
Just
provide-
independent buildings?
Sometimes we partner with schools. Sometimes we partner with businesses. Sometimes they are independent buildings.
Yeah.
Where we provide full day childcare or before and after school childcare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, because we're the Y, you can afford it. financial aid is available.
Yeah. Well, you even talked about, and you kind of skipped over it, the community pantry.
Yep.
Right, so that kind of piggybacks on that, being able to not just help out kids, but families.
Help out families. We're fortunate enough to be here in the Treasure Valley. Most people don't notice, but every year between financial aid for memberships, programs that we subsidize because we know they're important to the community, we will give away anywhere between $4 and $6 million in financial aid. The way we fund that is through our annual campaign. We ask people to give to our annual campaign. I am proud of a fact that every dollar that is given goes directly to those who need it. Because we only raise about $1.4 million. So everything else that we give away is given away out of our operations. It doesn't go to my paycheck. It doesn't go to turn on the lights. By the way, Idaho Power does not have a nonprofit rate. Charge us just as much as they do everybody else.
Come on, Idaho Power.
Yeah, what's going on?
I'm just lobbying nonprofit rate. So every dollar that we received from people, whatever is meaningful to them, goes directly to those who need.
Yeah.
1 in 4 adults, 1 in 3 children at the Y receive some kind of financial support from us to be at the Y, to have access to these life-changing programs.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of charities out there that can say, we know for a fact that 100% of what you give goes to those who need it.
Definitely not.
And that's special. So I will say this, if anybody wants to support the annual campaign, please see us downtown. We will take your money. We will take a check. We will take a promise of your money later this year. We will take stock disbursements. If you have something to give, we have a way to take it and be grateful for it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that is cool.
So cool.
No,
I'm excited to see this building when it's all come together.
We're more than
incredible.
a gym and swim. We are a community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask again. When's it opening?
Fourth quarter of this year.
Fourth quarter of this year. Okay.
Fourth quarter.
We
talking like 2-minute warning. Fourth quarter. Are we talking like beginning? Like
It's so corporate.
When you get to this stage in construction, you always think you have a date.
Yep.
And you always want to be very cautious with that date.
I can relate.
When we opened, when we, not to make this about me, but by any means, but when we opened our first location of the still, Brad Walker, who's the CEO at Boise Fry Company, he told us, whatever the contractors tell you, add 4 months.
Yeah.
And I was like, honestly, probably the best piece of advice I've ever gotten, because it just reset my expectations for how long things were going to take. And so I'm just like, anytime we do anything new, I'm like, whatever the contractors tell me, add 4 months. And then sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised, and it's only, a month or two behind that. And sometimes it really is the full 4 months. But that's a small scale project.
We've been proceeding right on schedule. Far.
For a project of that scope, that's pretty incredible to be on schedule.
But there's a lot that goes into it. Right? So you never know. You always
and there's the first 90% and there's the second 90%, right? So.
Yeah. I'm cautiously optimistic, and at the same time, I don't want to say something that
totally.
Is not.
And it'll be open when it's ready to be open, right? And you don't want to rush it, and you want to.
I'm going to tell you, it is soon. It is. We are now on the operations side already creating operational plans. We're already working on schedules. We're already working on these things. If it was 6 months away, we wouldn't be in that spot yet.
So. One thing we didn't talk about in the layout of this building is, where's your office? Are you 5th floor?
No.
He's in the front with the glass.
I'm right in the front, so I can see the community as they come into the Y, and they can, awesome. and if they need to talk to me, they can come right up and talk to me.
That's awesome. Curtains, nothing.
And not just right there for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's okay. A lot of people go through the life having jobs where they get to sit in the office and they do their jobs well and they love it. And I can tell you that my day is never the same as the day before.
Love that.
Because I never know who's going to walk into my office, who's going to want to talk, what we're going to talk about. And I think that's part of the beauty of my position. I get to meet all kinds of people. Sometimes they're great conversations about what we're doing great. Sometimes they're great conversations about what we could be doing better.
Yeah.
But I like being in that environment. It's never boring. I never sit at my desk going, geez, what should I do next?
Yeah. Well, Mike, I've only known you for a little over an hour, but I can't think of a better ambassador or leader for the YMCA. Honestly, very inspired by your story, and
we have so many.
you're the right guy for the job.
We have so many. I will tell you that this YMCA team is exceptional. The leadership team, the frontline team, through our entire organization is absolutely exceptional. We are now what's considered kind of top, I want to say 80 Ys in the U.S., 80 Ys or association in the U.S. Just recently, we got awarded an Eagle Award by the North American Y Development Organization for how we fundraise, how we have impact on communities through that fundraising, and that's pretty cool.
Very cool.
We just received that, I want to say, end of April.
Congratulations. Yeah.
That's also a testament to Boise, right? And when you talk
Absolutely.
about of why we do this
We couldn't
podcast.
do this without this community.
No, I get it.
But this leadership team is truly exceptional, and so, it's kind of you to say what you said, and I will tell you, there are a number of people that could be sitting here right now telling you the same thing and being the same person. And that's what makes this organization so incredible.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, Mike.
Yeah, well, I expect to see you guys at the Y.
Yeah,
Okay,
I can't wait. A place to hoop.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get Baby Shaq in there.
Wow.
You know that's Spencer's nickname, right?
Yeah.
No, he told me. You think he'd sit quiet on that?
Definitely not. Yeah, Mike, really enjoyed having you on.
I enjoyed being here. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for letting me share about the Y. It is, like I said, it's a place where I'm at home. Most people, wake up in the morning and they're like, I have to go to work.
Yeah.
And I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I get to go to work.
That's awesome.
No, that's cool.
Well, yeah,
No,
I'm truly inspired by your story and appreciate you sharing everything that you did. And
I know, because I didn't, I didn't know that. I've known you for what, like 9 years now, something like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then that's the first time I heard it. So it's cool to see that connection that you have. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And anyone listening, I mean, obviously check out the YMCA, donate to the Downtown Family YMCA if you're able. Go see Mike in his office right in the front door when the new downtown. Volunteer. Get your kids involved in the programming, and support the YMCA because they do a lot of great stuff in our community. And thank you for what you do for our community, Mike. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for just giving me the opportunity to be here.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Right on.
All right. Thanks.